All right, then I don't care if
You
you're.
gotta see your smiling faces first. There you go.
Okay, smiley faces, all righty. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda and make sure there's no conflicts of interest or anything on the agenda that you don't approve of? Otherwise, we will consider the agenda approved. Madam Auditor, will you please read the minutes from our previous meeting?
May 28, 2024, the Board of Supervisors met at 9 a.m. with Jean Hayden, Chair presiding, members present were Schultz, Dozark, Hayden, Mulbauer, and Rosberg. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. On motion, the board recognized claims for public health and approved claims for all other departments. The board approved the hiring of Evan Tenike, seasonal attendant at Nelson Park, and Madeline Parrott, seasonal attendant at Yellow Smoke Park Conservation Department. Motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Dozark, to approve the notice of public hearing and publication thereof related to the classification of a portion of K Avenue beginning at 2712 K Avenue and running thence southeast approximately 940 feet to the end of K Avenue as established by petition number 558. Said road generally lying in the northwest quarter of section 258439. The date was set for June 25th, 2024 at 10 a.m. A motion passed unanimously. A motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Dozark, to approve the temporary credit limit increase to $10,000 to the Baby Boutique account through August 31st, 2024. Motion passed unanimously. A motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Rosberg, to approve the tax abatement for 2557 Donna Reed Road, Michael and Sarah Luft, new home. Motion passed unanimously. Motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Dozark, to approve the liquor license pending dram shop for the Bake Shop and Hollywood Cafe. Motion passed unanimously. A motion was made by Dozark, seconded by Rosberg, to approve approving the chair's authority to sign the sales agreement of the annex building at 105 North Main Street. Motion passed unanimously. At 10:30 a.m., a motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Rosberg, to open closed session of the discussion of the hazardous pipeline ordinance, soil restoration ordinance, and potential litigation per Iowa Code 21.5, subsection 1, subsection C. Motion passed unanimously. At 11:44 a.m., a motion was made by Dozark, seconded by Mulbauer, to close the closed session. Motion passed unanimously. The board discussed the hazard pipeline ordinance, soil restoration ordinance. No action was taken at this time. On motion, duly seconded, the board adjourned 11:47 a.m. Agendas for the next meeting are posted and available to courthouse on Friday, 4:30 p.m. preceding the next meeting.
Yeah, sounded pretty good.
Sounded real good.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you. All right.
Whoops, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'll let go this time.
Should have read it exactly the way I always do.
It's election day.
Getting ready, yes, it is.
That's out. It's been election day.
It's been election. All righty, we have next the standing reports of the supervisors. Anybody want to volunteer to go first?
I'll go last, because I got,
Dave, we'll let you go. How's that?
I'll run us up to the clock.
Well,
Well,
I
maybe.
need just a few minutes.
All right, that's why I said I'll go last.
Go ahead.
Talked to Henry Thompson this morning on my way here for a little while, and he was forming me on the gravel haul, and he thought that it was going really, really smoothly.
He's one of our blade men in the Manila shop.
And, he said that they had 25 trucks running and, just getting a lot done. I thought the material looked good and just thought that things were going very well. It's kind of nice to hear from the guys on the ground that, and I don't steal Paul's thunder, he'll come up and give us an update too about it, but, you know.
They covered a lot of ground around Charter Oak area already, so, in that week that they've been at it.
Yeah, he said they were getting product out of Willie and he was this morning down in my area, down by Aspen.
Oh. Good, a little safer around Charter Oak than they're down that way, huh? That's crazy with that many trucks.
Oh, I get,
It
A
is.
lot of
They
extra
got a pretty good
traffic on
system.
the roads. No,
Getting a lot done in a hurry, though, I think.
Yeah.
Good.
and good time of year, you know, past where we didn't get till late summer.
And as long as we don't get any more gully washers, we walk it all into the ditch.
That's about all I had, Jimmy.
Okay, okay. I'll go real quick. I did have a early childhood, Vista SAC Crawford meeting. It was a Zoom meeting, lasted the longest meeting I've ever had because, the funding is just not there. And so the board had these decisions to make whether they were gonna fund a program in BB or one in Crawford, kind of that both did the same programs facilitated. Much discussion on that, and then it finally came down to recommendation that would stay with the entity that has been doing it, proven support. It's the $350,000 program that they're gonna work more together, but Crawford did get that. And I also yesterday went to the Aryan city council meeting. I've been getting these phone calls from, this dirt that's coming into the homes on Catherine Street from that property above. What had happened is they'd taken out these trees, a new owner, and they took out the trees, which is causing that soil to erode. And I showed you the video. So Paul is going to be going down there to dig out the ditches, look at the culvert. Part of that problem is the railroads. And so what they're looking for is maybe some grants to help them do some work. And I was told that there was going to be a gal there that had some ideas about some grants. And she unfortunately had another commitment and I didn't find out about it till after I was down there. But I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm happy that our county engineer is free to go down there and kind of help out a little bit. That's something that's really helping them.
Gene, did they get NRCS involved?
They are doing everything they can in this. There's a gal from Down City. I can't think of her name right off the top of my head.
Billy,
Billy? Okay, Poston.
yes.
So they're gonna work together with that, but I just think until we figure out what's causing it, this gal and everybody, there's more than just this one person that has the damage. They can't really go in there and fix and back up. They're just sitting in limbo waiting. The one property is a rental and they should have it rented when it's got mud on the floors.
Well, they're getting it cleaned up.
Yeah, whatever.
Really, just want to knock it down.
Right. Well, and the other part of it is I guess the farmer had planted some rye and brome and things, but with the gully washer, all that, came out. So the good news is he's aware of the problem, do what he can to, kind of fix it, kind of working together. But if anybody knows of any grants or anything that's out there to help them get this stabilized, that would be awesome. But other than that,
Can they apply through where our county declared a disaster area, get that $5,000?
well, that is for the actual windstorm and they didn't include that, so I think that's pretty specific to that.
It is.
Yeah, that's my understanding anyway, but
Yeah, but there's some monies that were available to us for washing the roads and stuff
Yeah.
even, so.
that was through that incident, so
Right.
we'll ask Paul when he gets here.
I think it was all the same day, so.
Spitballing.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
spitballing, yeah, I thought of that, and that's kind of what I'd gotten back, but maybe it's just asking the right person, the right question at the right time, so. Just wanted to bring that up, that area is struggling a little bit to kind of
Yep.
hold on there, and I had never been to an area city council meeting, so I thought that would be a place to go, and it was interesting. That's all I have.
How'd you find out when the area has it?
Oh, because I had talked to the mayor of area.
They posted anywhere?
Not that I knew of, and I didn't really know what street it was gonna be on, but I just figured the property that had at least two or more cars in it.
There's
that
only a
would be
few to
good.
choose from, but
Meeting on the picnic.
Yeah, it was okay.
did they talk about their budget or their?
Yes, they did. They're gonna get that to you before June 15th, promise. Yes, sir.
I don't know if it's gonna matter. But they need to finish their stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah, they did.
It's beyond me.
That did come up.
It should have been certified.
Yeah. And their financial report too.
What would they use the grant money for?
Stabilization somehow above, I would think just.
So in this private property landowners
It
property?
affects the whole county. I mean, because it came all the way down, all of the streets and it's,
So it's more than one landowner where it
more
starts
than one
at?
landowner, more than one landowner, absolutely.
And that's where they want to go fix it.
But it's just the landowners recent modifications that are creating the biggest disturbance, is my understanding.
So they don't need any input from the railroad to fix the problem.
That was brought up, that part of that when I talked to Paul, you know, the railroad has a part in this, but
Drainage is probably the biggest part with the railroad, you know how they are about
they,
anything.
they cleaned it out once, but they didn't address the whole problem. And so it's a combination of different things, I think. It's not all just one.
Yeah, it's,
It's just the fact that that rain came so fast, and had it been, you know, if that, the seeds would have got planted last year when there was kind of a drought, there probably would have been a stop.
I'll try to get you a name.
You do
State
that.
government.
See, that's why I bring it up.
Can-
Yep, let's
I'll
just,
see what I can do.
let's just keep working together.
Right.
That's a little.
This sounds to me like the biggest problem is that where he did improvements on his field.
Yep.
It actually removed what equivocated to his. That's pretty much, yes.
Pretty much, but, according to the mayor of Arion, you know, that landowner is aware and is trying to, you know, do what he can. It's not that, it just so happened that we got,
The fair-minded person, so
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not that.
just a bunch of circumstances beyond everybody's control, which is causing, because even on that flat street, right, when you come in, there's still twigs and, you know, debris and things that just, so it's not, it kind of just keeps coming. It doesn't stop there. It kind of keeps coming. It's going. I just, that's all I really have. So, very good. All right, Kyle, you want to go next? We'll just go right down the line.
well, I won't take long, got conservation board meeting tomorrow night at Nelson's Park. Our annual Nelson's Park trip, so we're gonna overlook the upgrades that will be done come this fall. They're campground up, they're camping season, but, well, no. I don't think there's really anything else on the agenda than normal business, and, last week, just gonna heads up, Nate will probably be in and talk about it more in depth, but we'll have a very lengthy bill from one of our juveniles, so. Just prepared, I talked to them, the budget should be all right to cover it. Like I said, it's gonna have to be all right, because we can't get it done, we can't get an amendment done anymore this fiscal year, so.
Well, it depends on when we can get the bill, as to whether we get paid in this fiscal year or the next, so.
So I just thought everybody be aware of that. And it's probably gonna be, knowing the situation, it might be an ongoing expense.
Long-term stay.
I don't see it getting out for early release, I guess. I don't know. Could be, yeah.
You know what our cost is gonna be or what that cost is right now?
I received a phone call from Cheryl and Nate both, I forget, was it last Wednesday night?
Yeah, he reached out to me and I gave him your cell phone. He said, I need to talk to Kyle.
Yeah, and it was both of them, I think Nate's was after 10:30, so. It's, must be big enough that it was concerning to call me that late at night, so. Cheryl said it's gonna be large.
How long's it been? How long?
This was all just transpiring last week, so
Oh,
like, there's a hospital involved in it, and
got it.
so, like I said, we probably won't even get the bill until next fiscal year, I'm guessing. So,
Over 100 grand, less than 100.
I'm hoping less than 30,000,
Oh, okay.
but still, that's a lot,
Sizable for one young
that's a
man.
big number for a juvenile detention budget, so.
Kyle, when you say that they called you like at 10:30 at night, that means that that incident had just happened, possibly
It was still happening,
was
yeah,
still happening.
yeah.
And so they needed to transport him. Them, it. they-
Well, I think the transport had already been done,
Okay,
yeah.
so then they anticipate because of the nature of the incident.
Just everything that's going on. It's not that our juvenile detention bill will be larger. Per se, it's not like we're getting charged extra because of this, it's just the hospital bills and everything that are gonna be wrapped up with it.
Alrighty,
And I don't know, Nate, I don't, I said, maybe thanks for calling, you don't have to, it is what it is, I know there's nothing we can do to change it.
Right, exactly.
Well, we've been through that even with Glenn before, Nate, where, you know, a couple years in a row there, we were over budget just because of all the
Right.
cases or incidents.
But, I mean, they gotta do what they have to do, I mean, they got protocol to follow, and I know Nate was trying, and Cheryl were trying many different avenues, but everything always had the fingers pointing back to Crawford County, so we're stuck with it.
Would you like to read through that it didn't actually happen in Crawford County?
Did it happen in Crawford County? That's a Crawford County kid.
Is it Crawford County? Sure. Okay. All right, just trying to talking code, yes. He's innocent.
That's all I had.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Hi, I
Okay.
don't know if you got 30 minutes, Mark.
Well, I don't know if I got that much.
We can always.
We
can always-
Forget about
always
Craig.
We can always take a tiny
We
break.
can only jump ahead.
Hey,
It's
I
only
know
two.
15, he's waiting over here.
I mean, I've got 3 minutes. 2
Okay.
minutes.
Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I was-
So I thought we were gonna do Ty last,
We are.
Go.
but I haven't gotta go. Yes, I. So, before,
I'll forget more.
6 more months. Just gonna let everyone know, I guess the 28E board, with us, city, school, that Mike Pardun and Scott Larson, it was their last meeting, last Tuesday. That the new business manager and the new superintendent are gonna serve on the board. Mike is gonna bring the superintendent by, perhaps, the new superintendent by over the next month. He said I might just come up on a Tuesday. I said, hey, we're here every Tuesday. If you just wanna introduce her, we won't have her on the agenda. He said, we'll do that if I know what day I'm coming. Said, I'll let you know. We can be on the agenda, but,
Do they have a new business manager also?
yes. They do. She was the business manager in Manning previously.
Okay, very nice.
And,
Young and Don Meyer,
Dawn, you said?
Don Meyer,
No.
business manager for the
School.
school. Don City.
Okay. Business manager for Manning School District. She was previously. They elected me president of that 2080 board last
Congratulations.
Tuesday.
They did what?
They elected me president of the 2080 board
Congratulations.
because the city manager
tenure
is serving
now?
the secretary as secretary and the business manager, the business manager is serving as the treasurer. So they thought since we have the city, the school, and the county needs to be involved, so the only office left was president, so there you go.
Very
Sounds to me
Golden
like
Arches.
I might have had that.
You'll
plan.
do fabulous.
Yeah, just wanted you all to be aware of that, and then just a couple of things that I think you ought to be, just from reading about our county is, December 31st, 1979, they terminated livestock operations at the county farm. July 19th, 1988, they officially named the road Donna Reed Road, in case you're interested. And the first lease of the county farm was December 27th, 1989, at a cost of $85.
Who leased it?
Ron and Jim Rice.
Oh,
Really?
They
Oh,
rented 165 acres back there.
oh, before the CRP.
You are officially our historian.
So, just wanted you guys to know, okay, Ty, you're on board.
Board historian.
Thank you.
Cool.
President, board historian, you get titles, other titles.
You know, that would be, you know, in the Maple Press or whatever, they have a looking back section of
Yeah.
the paper.
25 years ago.
You could
Yeah.
have a newsletter, Craig.
Careful what you dug
5
yourself
years
into.
back, 10 years back.
I thought I was just providing fun facts.
You are, and I appreciate it.
They are
That's
fun.
neat.
Great.
Fun fact.
It's interesting. Okay, well, the first thing, I didn't have much at all last week other than running around taking care of business, but, yesterday we had one of our reservoir meetings,
Yeah.
and it was, a good one, cause we, got our water needs study, and he didn't bring up, he emailed the more in-depth version. But I sent you guys a copy, Terry made a copy of this morning and sent it to you guys so you can go through it, because I wanted you to have the color. I'll kind of get into that here in a minute, but obviously our needs are gonna be growing as the years come. Denison's growing. Our smaller towns are, I wouldn't say they're shrinking a lot, but they're trending down. But that's because of your smaller, your really small communities, Aspinwall and Buck Grover below 100. Ricketts is 107, I think, and that's in here. You guys can look all the small details up if you'd like. But it still has us on an increase for water needs, and there's if this was specifically towards what Joe kind of geared him towards, what he wanted him to look into. You can get into more of the hypothetical industrial developments, like where he would actually sit down with if Smithfields and see about what their long-term plans are, that whatever you can get out of them, private businesses, and that's sometimes held close to their vest, but the the monograms and the Petersons and any expansions they might have for those that use water. I mean, and then also work with CDC, seeing what they're up to, what other kind of plans are in the county for industrial parks. I actually kind of like to see, obviously, an industrial park up here. And that's one of the things that we're moving towards, but I'd also like to see help advance one up in Schleswig and down in Manila as well. And the other two communities that are still pretty active in the forward march, I suppose would be a good way to put it.
Did you ever get a definitive answer on how much water usage Summit would use when you met with them?
Yeah, they brought it up, and here's something, I mean, obviously each side has their story to that, and they really didn't give an exact amount, because they said really all they use the water for. Now, what Anderson's uses water for and what Summit will use water for are two different things. It means, obviously, Anderson uses it to process the corn and stuff like that. But Summit, really the only time they use water is when they first complete the pipe, and they use it for pressure testing to look for leaks and everything like that. So after that, water doesn't get put into the line anymore. And I'm sure somebody's got a rebuttal for that. Now that I've said it, I'll hear it. But they said if there's actually, I can't remember, I'm sitting here trying to remember, Dave, not to say it, but there's some kind of an acid type reaction inside there that corrodes the pipe, so they won't put water in there. And in the combination with the carbon, I can't remember what the term is.
So it's not like they're gonna use it.
Yeah, they're not gonna be pumping water to North Dakota like what we were, at least that's what I've been told. I mean, I gotta take everybody at face value, I mean, for what, other than what research we can dig into that. And
Carbonic acid,
thank you, carbonic acid, that's right.
green irregular blob.
Yep. Google makes us so much brighter than we were as children. But in any event, that I don't see them having a major need for water. So, I mean, however, if we, because of this, it obviously starts to meet the criteria of green energy, or, makes renewable fuels more viable, which could increase. I don't know what Anderson's plans are in the future, but, assuming that this would make them more viable my byproduct, potentials for their ethanol to be used, even other facilities being out, used, whether even Anderson would create a sustainable aviation fuel. And I mean, this is all hypothesis. I haven't talked to anybody there, so don't take it as I know something inside, because I do not. But, that's just the possibilities of my development mind saying, all right, these are the things that can happen. So would that increase water demand? Of course, I mean, any new business has got the potential. And if we stay in our development cluster, we're gonna stay ag oriented. Well, ag usually uses a fair amount of water, no matter what they're doing, Now, I don't mean we're gonna build more packing houses. I mean, that's, we gotta just make sure that we look after the ones that we got. And to create another one right now with the population count we got and the workforce we got would be kind of, I don't know if I would say irresponsible, but it would sure put a strain on on our current workforce, our current employers. And, but, you're always shopping for the best opportunities for the community. So water needs on that hasn't been really in this part of the study on development wise, so. But that's for another
You
day.
don't tell you how much our water needs dropped, like once Tyson left.
If you look at these graphs in here, it doesn't look like it did.
Doesn't look like it changed.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like it.
It'd be interesting to go back when they still had the high line, because they used a lot
A
of.
lot of water there.
A lot of water then, but they had their own wells, so the DMU probably wouldn't maybe be able to.
Well, hard to
Monitor
track
that.
it, hard to track it unless Tyson gives you the numbers. I would suit, you're gonna have some go down. I mean, I remember, Dad was obviously with Iowa Beef, and he was in management and that, one of his big projects one time when I was like in junior high, I remember he sat at the dining room table many nights working on different plans, creating ways to reduce their water use, and they got down to like 650 gallons per head for production purposes, when it was probably over 1,000. So I mean, different things like that. I'm just this is all hypothetical. And the only reason that number's in my head is because I was actually speaking with her husband about it not too long ago, when we were talking about water usage and stuff like that. And Jerry obviously worked for IBP, so he knew a lot of those things too. So that's why that number's in my head, so. And otherwise I don't think I'd remember back to junior high. For sure. But, things like that obviously have helped us. So if you gotta assume that if IBP was doing that, and there's obviously financial interest, using water costs money. Even if you have your own wells, but you still have wastewaters to deal with and treat, all them types of things. So I mean, I would assume that the Smithfield or farmland in the day was already doing ways to conserve water. So, and I'm sure they still are. But, if you go through all this, he talks about the 13 cities, and they went over everything in water usage. A lot of it was working with rural water and DMU, and to get the best assessment. I think it's Deloitte and that that still have their own water supply. Oh, maybe it wasn't. When I'm going through here, I'll be able to tell you. I know Deloitte aren't come to my mind because I knew they were having some issues with wells and waters, but I think they've got that fixed out and they've got their nitrates down and stuff, so they might be staying on their own. But if you as you're scrolling through, you get to this first map, kind of looks like this. It shows the Crawford counties outlined there in orange, and that's showing rural waters lines. And the darker blue is their heavier line. I think that was like a 10 plus, maybe 12 to 14 size pipe. And then the light blue was the next size down, would be like the 8 to 10 or 6 to 8. And then it was the green or a little smaller than that. Them are basically your small arteries, or not arteries, but the bigger ones are your arteries, and your capillary veins, I suppose that would be a good way to put it. But if you look, the southwest corner of our county is dreadfully underserved. Now, there is another rural water that comes down up in there in Harrison County and stuff, but that was why we were having trouble when we were shopping for water for our other park, for Nelson's. There's just nothing there, and that's why it would cost so much to get water to them. We actually discussed that a little bit yesterday too, because that's still something I'm sure that anybody in this board would like to see us get water to that eventually. And it's obviously cost and effect. I mean, there's so few people down in that neighborhood. It's hard to justify running pipes to that, So that seems to be a larger part of the problem. And you look, there's absolutely nothing. If you look just north to the west of Dow City, there's just nothing down there for pipes. So I mean,
There's not a lot of people out there.
that's just it. There's just not. I mean, so it's hard to justify.
Willow Township, there's
nothing. I mean, there's people that matter. People that live there matter, obviously,
Right.
but there's so few of them that it's hard to justify the expense of
Yeah.
putting all that pipe.
which restricts the cost.
So maybe that's something we always do, is keep an eye out. And I know I'll do that. I'm sure you got going down there at the State House, but always keep an eye out for any water improvements to our rural type that like the fiber optic people have been getting a lot of money to get out to the rural area, which is a great thing. But maybe someday the water supply and need, might be a thing. Especially the thing is like more of the confinements have been going to rural water. But a lot of them are just using it for backup, so it's still hard for them to justify it because the cost is not, they're not retrieving the cost of putting in the pipe. So that's, like if the cattle confinements start to get more popular, which is my hope anyway. But, that could be another reason to have more rural water, because if you got your concentration like that, you don't want to risk that one well, you want to have a backup.
Rural wasn't adding anymore, wasn't taking on anymore.
Yeah.
Confinements. Now that it got some rains again, that might change.
And I will say that, the rural water down there is in Manning, our rural water, western Iowa. They are, or west central service area. They're looking at, drilling another water site, up to the north here that will actually help kind of feed
North of Manning?
no, it's up
You
there.
said north.
Well, no, it's up in the Wall Lake area.
Oh, I see. Not in Crawford.
Yeah, no, it's not in there, but I mean, it reduces the load on in the Manning area, reduces the load on our DMU. So that, maybe that provides opportunity to go elsewhere. If the water, you gotta have the water supply, and then that's another reason for the reservoir. I mean, the reservoir serves, that's the idea of this, is it serves multiple purposes. It isn't just a water needs. It's also for flood mitigation, but it's also for water needs. Like you said, they weren't taking any more because of water concerns for confinements. Well, it's what we do here is grow stuff. So anyway, and then they go through the historical, they showed it where the historical population was. Like I said, we were down in the 97 was what the Aryan has dropped to. They were at 108 to 2010. Buck Grove and Aspinwall are 33 and 34. And
Say Kyle mentioned that Tyson, I think he said that they had their own wells. Since they're no longer, I know they still own the facility, but is that a future potential of adding water to the system by purchasing those,
yeah.
purchasing those wells
Yeah.
from Tyson and put them into the system of either Denison or Crawford County or the West Central?
And DMU's got some wells over that way, and I don't know how that's, if they're ever tied into that aquifer type thing or not, they were talking about, I think that might have been Deloitte or something.
Craig, I think the biggest hurdle is getting Tyson to do anything.
Right.
I'm trying not to say a whole lot about Tyson right now, okay? There's other activity going on there too, But, so yeah,
Could they
there's challenges to deal with there. And that's not that they're impossible to get along with, it's just they've got their interests as well, But anyway, it goes down, shows the population, then it's got this population chart down here and the trends. And obviously Denison's our grower, and there's a dark blue line on there that shows where its growth is, and then the county itself. But then the other urbans are dropping, and that's our small communities. But they aren't dropping significant. They've got a slight decline, but
I was
it's,
looking at that, the population was pretty steady since 1970. It's just the shifting of where they're living.
exactly. And it's exactly what it is. And that's exactly what he called it, is just a population shift, but that's just basically the entire nation.
Yeah.
We're moving to a more urbanized society,
Yeah,
which,
well.
that as a
Farmers
kid,
continue to get bigger.
as a kid growing up where all of your neighbors lived and.
Yep.
you could walk down that gravel to play with your buddies. They aren't there anymore. Yeah.
You gotta walk a long time.
Now you gotta walk a long time, which is probably keep you in good shape. After you get chores done, forget that.
You guys gotta come down our road.
Yeah, yours are too hilly, sorry.
We got kids up and down the road all over the place.
Yep.
I bet you do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. They're on horses though.
Yeah, we're on everything.
Anyway, historic water usage, you kind of went over that. As you can see, these letters are a little small here, Brandon. Get out, cheaters. As you can see, it shows you on that graph down here at the bottom, that's, the gallons, per, how the hell did they?
Are you on this graph?
It's-
Just trying to. follow.
Gallons per
Yep.
capita per day.
There you go, gallons per capita per day.
Okay. all right.
And that's, the usage in each community, with their sanitary surveys, okay? And you can see a lot of it has to do with where the droughts are. I mean, if you look at that, where the drought might push the water usage up. Obviously, that's got to do with either irrigation type things or people watering their lawns, filling pools, just different things. When it's hot, and it's something you don't really think about, like Charter Oak's got an outdoor pool. When it's hot, it gets a lot of evaporation, so there's adding that continuously goes into a pool like that throughout the summer and stuff. And that's just one thing, for instance. Yeah.
Do we know what year IBP closed, just out of curiosity?
2018.
Was it? I was trying to read up on this. Does it look like in 2014 is when it went down just a tad? So
That's numbers.
I don't know,
just,
right?
I don't
the point
remember.
that came to my
Have you
mind.
Googled that yet?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I can tell you Brad Bonner.
He's trying to
whatever.
steal your job, Craig. Anyway, so it shows that it really, other than some spikes here and there for different communities. I mean, it's kind of a consistent water usage.
Right, I mean, you can see that every community is basically the same other than Denison, which has
Which
large
is got the-
commercial.
Right.
And that's what I was gonna lead to, is because it's the one that's growing the largest, its usage is increasing.
2015,
2015, so.
so 2014 is when we took our, well, that's not it. Right. Thinking Vale probably closed the pool here, that's,
And then they went into the projected water usage, knowing the population projection per gallons and peaking estimated future average per day peak. All right. See, they got the peak days and then they got these average days figured out in this chart here. And it goes through 20 to 2045, and this is their projections. And they got a formula right down. What was that formula? They got a formula that they use that figures that out.
It looks to me
I
like,
don't have my script paper that I was scribbling on, so.
we need to do some education. 365 gallons of water per day per person. Seems like an awful. I mean, it's spread
Yeah,
out
but see-
over total usage, but they need my dad in there. Run all the water down here, he used to carry it in with a bucket yet, so he very conservative on
I
water.
think that just tells you, I mean, how much Smithfield, Monogram, Anderson's
Yeah.
use.
Exactly.
Because it's pretty consistent how much people use in those
Yeah.
small communities.
Yeah, the people usage is pretty consistent.
Right.
The biggest thing is that the plant is spread across what they say. See, they use in the city of Denison, it's per capita population per person. But when they go out to the outside, it's per unit, so it'd be like your farm place or a
Yeah.
household, so the smaller ones were figured that way. And he said it would just give you a better estimate of what was going on. But they spread it across the population, but that didn't just mean per person, it's.
I can understand, I mean, I've taken every water leak, everything that, is being used, every fire that's hooked on when they use 1 million gallons of water at a fire, I mean, that's all figured into that, but.
didn't think about that.
Yeah.
They set up the city, when they drain their pool for the summer, they use that water to irrigate their football field.
Good for them.
Kind of a neat way to
I like that.
reuse or get extra use out of it.
That's actually what some of the things that I was up at NACO, that was some of the things they were talking about, way to reuse is your wastewaters. We don't do a very good job of doing that
Las
collectively.
Vegas, I think they reuse their wastewater how many times?
And they, by golly, should, they're in trouble. But anyway, it went through there and showed the growth, which is actually a substantial, it brought the numbers, that we're gonna need significant water. And this is what using how we're built right now. So I mean, if we have anywhere from, moderate growth, we're probably gonna need a lot more water than that. So I think that, the whole thing is really demonstrating the need for for the reservoir without even going into using development as a guideline, just using the numbers that we presently have and figuring out what their potential, like we showed with the smaller areas where they're going down, Denison going up. Connection to history, rural, West Central rural users, I mean, I don't want to say this out of turn here. West Central's been averaging 29 users per year, adding that much, 29 per year for their existing services. So that's why they've been looking for additional places to go, because users doesn't just necessarily mean a family. Got a question?
I mean, did they talk about, they had population stayed the same, they're adding more people on theirs. But did they talk about the total aquifer? I mean, it's like, is it a shell game where, you shut your well down, but the water's still in the same aquifer, so it's the total gallons being used would be the same, right? I see what you're saying. Did they talk about that at all? I mean.
No, I mean, you mean as far as where they're drawing the water
Well,
from?
just total water under the footprint of the county is X.
And we don't wanna
If
see
you got
that
your
go
well
down.
and the water's coming over here, is it the same aquifer that? I closed my well, but I hooked to rural water, so really the total gallons is still the same.
Yeah, no, because, we're using a lot, they're rural West Central in particular. I mean, this study was beyond just Crawford County. Okay, we were
I
a
get
big
that,
part
but
of
I'm
it.
just curious on how the whole, if they, okay, on the western side of the county, that water is not anywhere tied to the Boyer River area,
Yeah,
to where, or I'm sure there's a geologist that said, it's all in the same water
aquifer.
aquifer.
Yeah. And,
That's
and I don't get the vibe, and this is just talking to DMU, that not necessarily are all the wells connected. Like we think of if you think of the Ogallala Aquifer, it starts up in basically up in South Dakota and stretches to Texas, it isn't like we've got this, that we're drawing all of our water out of something like that. I mean, it sounded to me like some of our wells aren't even, like if the wells that are south of Denison, I don't know necessarily if that's pulling out of the same pool underneath the.
I guess that's what I was asking if they talked about that.
Yeah. Actually, that's not a question that I've really beat them on yet. That's a good question. I mean, I have asked about, when I use the word aquifer, they never stop me from using it.
Because didn't they have a map didn't I see a map where like there's an aquifer that extends from the Great Lakes all the way? It's like the guys in the river bottom that they say they'll never run out of water over by Otto because that aquifer is all the way from the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
So, just
I
curious.
don't know. I mean, obviously, there's times when your well's going dry, you go deeper. So I don't know if there's something that we can go deeper to that's got more water and.
Is there surface aquifers and then deep aquifers?
Deep well aquifer.
I think there is some of that too, because once you get so deep, you start getting into the higher sulfur and stuff content of water, so. That's where
I never went into that in this. You know what, though? I'm trying to remember back when we had that geologist there. He talked more about the water tables and what's there at, from when the the glaciers came down. And where they all met actually was in the Lakeview and Wall Lake area.
That's kind of where the glaciers kind of came to.
They all came to a point there.
Good job, Ty. 45 minutes.
Wait.
I didn't even get done.
Come on
They
down.
took up all my time.
He was doing his best to fill some time.
Thanks for being punctual.
Gone.
We actually had a bet, he couldn't do it.
Really?
And,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
No,
How much won't he get told? That probably was the bet. I get it all in.
Oh my
You
gosh.
did excellent, Ty. Thank you very much. All righty, Paul, you are on. Thank you. I'll take this one.
Anyway, you can go through that if you got more questions, and if I can't answer.
I think we
make sure
will.
I can find the people that are.
I had some questions.
Well, a really big day today. As Sullivan used to say. Got a really big show.
shoe, really big.
Oh, like I said, well, they're doing it right now, setting a temporary bridge, so as soon as they get done here, I might head over there and see how that's going, so kind of neat to see. And of course, there's elections today.
Is it really?
It's today.
So, hopefully lots of people down and go, so,
For today.
Item two there, the project, we're gonna have that pre-con tomorrow, so we'll find out a little bit better, but they could possibly start next week. We'll find out more there. Manila's shop continues to work on the electrical and heating, and everything's looking
You're
really
actually
good
giving
there.
them heating and plumbing? That's really nice.
Well, yeah, it's better than a tent.
It does look really nice there.
It does. We get it all done. It's gonna, yeah, that's gonna be a nice improvement, nice addition to the community and to our facilities. So pretty neat to see that come together. Great crew there on 360th Street, just north of Indiana Avenue. They did an avenue from 360th back to the highway and just kind of move one around the corner and working on that. As soon as they get done there, they're gonna go south on 59. Where Von Tersch's right there, that Level B road going east of there, so they're gonna go next, so.
I was on that a while back. That was pretty rough.
It is, yeah, it could use a little improvement,
Yeah.
so. In our Level B roads right now don't look very good. It's just been a struggle to get onto them, and the guys say you get halfway in there and then it's mud and you just, we need a week of dry weather to get, to get them so you can actually get on them, but we'll get them fixed up.
They're talking more thunderstorms this afternoon.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So, the bridge crew, they're working on that, and that project, I think in 2-3 weeks we'll be out of there, so it's gonna go really, really fast. Roadside, seeding and spraying, we're trying a little different mulch. I got 13 bags of a different paper fiber mulch, trying to shop around a little bit, see if we can find something a little less expensive. This stuff's gone up quite a bit. We buy a premium paper mulch, it works good, everything works really good, it's just got more expensive, so I'm trying to figure out if there's another product out there that we can maybe, and we're gonna try to buy semi loads and just have them drop ship it right to our yard. So that'll save us $2 or $3 a bag. So we're on that.
Another note, I was at a graduation today on Saturday night,
Mhm.
and I talked to a couple of city council members and just some of the people there, and they're just so tickled pink with their overlay.
That turned out good.
It turned out good. They said our biggest mistake was we didn't do more.
I know. When we were over there doing that, John Label, we're gonna do the whole town, and honestly, we had a good contractor, everything just kind of fit together, and they're local, they were here, so you get a play off of that. Yeah, and, it isn't perfect, but it's better than the seal coat, and I think it provided some really good value.
But
Yeah.
good to hear that there.
It was really good to hear
Very
that.
happy about
Yeah, it was good to hear that, yeah. Item 4 is a resolution, just transferring the balance of those funds appropriated in the budget. So I know every once in a while Chuck would look at to see if there was just a few more dollars that we just transfer, but I think we'll just transfer whatever was in the budget.
Yeah, because it's,
We just want to make sure we don't transfer more.
no, because it's statutorily limited
Yeah,
as far as, so, and this, what we budgeted was the limit.
okay.
So those are the right
These are the
numbers.
budgeted numbers,
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
these are the budgeted numbers, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve that resolution, item number 4.
Second.
All right, it's a resolution, so is there any further discussion? Otherwise, I'll call a vote. Kyle?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye, the resolution has been transferred.
And gravel haul is really well. We had 25 trucks last week when we started. And we are done with Anthem as far as we wanted to go. We'll leave a few thousand ton over there for Brandon and those guys to haul the short ends. Keeps them busy when we get done with the main gravel haul. So we moved to Stratford's pit over by Dedham. It's the one over there by one of those feedlots. It's called Sparks Pit. And so since day one out of there, really good material down in your area.
Actually, I talked to Henry this morning.
Yeah.
He was right in the valley by my hog barn. And he
Mhm.
said, David is going so smooth. He
Yeah.
said, he thought the product looked really good.
Yeah, that's good to hear. In my opinion, it's some of the best gravel we've gotten.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's maybe 4 or 5 years of that autumn material, we're all pulling out of there, so, we'll utilize it as long as we can, so. So that's going well. The fiber contractor, we met with them this morning. I want to start off by saying this is a very professional group of people. They,
Is there?
there's three different crews. Yeah, and so the fundamental issue is they're using dozers to plow with one of their crews down in that area where you're at down there. And so they have 2 dozers pulling each other and the grousers tear things up and it just tears things up. And so, yeah, you know, I told them this morning, I said, we will in the future prohibit the use of dozers to plow in fiber cables or any type of cable for that matter in the future, just because of the issues that we're basically, they have another crew that's working north of Highway 30 and they're using like a quad track, typical Vermeer plow, you know, that we see other contractors use. And we have very, very few issues with that. But we've had some pretty significant issues, you know, one morning here, several weeks back, you know, we had to dump about 20 loads of crushed limestone on that 240th Street down there. A mile and a half of road that had just been plowed in. And so, you know, you kind of weigh this isn't everything. I mean, we've had other costs, other gravel and stuff, and, you know, we're trying to not, you know, every little thing, but when you got a big area, you gotta haul it, it's pretty much a direct result of what they did. You know, we usually bill back for that. You can see, I mean, we got a lot of money here, and of course, the contractor's saying, I'm not eating all that. And I said, well, you weren't the permit holder. Western Iowa Networks is the permit holder. And so Mike was there, Western Iowa Networks. He said, go back and talk to his board. And I said, you're welcome to have some of those people come over and talk to our board. I said, we all have jobs to do. My job is to be a steward of the roadways, looking out for the taxpayers' interest in terms of the roads. You guys are trying to provide fiber to the people out here. They want fiber, they want roads. But here's where we're at.
Problem.
It is. And I said, had we not, if we didn't have the method, it's the method. And of course, we want the cable in place right here. Okay, one right there. And the reason is, this is kind of the application here, we have kind of a road, a very typical road. You know, we just as soon have it right here, you know, plowing it on the right there, it's kind of like the wheel track. Because then, you know, we can blade the gravel back, they put it in, we blade it back on, you don't even know it's there most times. And, you know, so, you know, they're just kind of tearing this up, so, you know, the grass lines over here. And you know, we want that in 2 or 3 feet from the grass line. And, you know, because if you got culverts, and then they got boards for all the culverts, but, you know, we don't want it in here because this is what happens to the ditches. And you gotta come back and you gotta clean it out, okay? Long term, this is the best place for it to be because very, very little disturbance. And then if there is any issue with this trench, you know, it's right on the road, so you can, you know, the traffic and blading kind of needs that thing back together. And of course, they're saying, well, you're the one that requires us to put it there, and everybody else lets us put it, you know, out here with, you know, if we get out here too far, you know, what we've had with some of these is that the slopes, you know, I mean, if this was like this, you put it out into this area, we've had these slopes completely fail. And so we want it in a little bit. Yeah, we had several slope failures because the utility being, it'd fall right on that trench.
But when they do a trench like that with the.
Yeah. You know, so anyhow, I think all of it, you know, and again, these guys are very good. You can sit down, you can have a professional conversation with them. And nobody's getting,
Paul, does it make a difference that they use a plow versus a trencher?
Well, everybody uses a plow. They're using a plow behind a dozer, V6 dozer, and then they're pulling that with another dozer. So you got two sets of browser tracks that are pulling on this. And, you know, that's just one crew that's working down in this area, and you've got another crew working up in this area, and they're using the standard that we would normally see. And now, you know, we didn't prohibit that, in this particular case, and I think we'd like to get along, but if it gets, you know, to the point where it gets too bad, we say, hey, you know what, get that thing out of here. We don't want it, we don't want it here. But apparently they're not having any problems in other counties, but I've heard that for the last 24 years, you know, they don't do it this way, you know, and so it's like, well, yeah, but this is what's happening here. We can't deny it, I mean, pictures are there, but they're very good. So, you know, so they're wondering, well, what, you know, you want us to pay a percentage of this, or what are you asking for? I said, all of it.
They're not.
We wouldn't be doing it if you weren't here.
Pardon?
Your pre-con, you explained that.
Oh, yeah, we talked about all of it, yeah, and so, you know, their argument, again, is we're trying to provide a service to the citizens, yet you can't do that and tear up our roads. I mean, you have to be good stewards of the roads, so there's just kind of this fine balance, like I said, this isn't all of it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of the one-off, the one note here, the this there, whatever, that we, you know, this is just the main stuff that, you know,
The biggest damage.
the biggest.
At the end of the day, we would not have this cost.
Right,
Would have it.
if they weren't here.
If they weren't here, and I told them, that. I said, you know, I don't want to be here having this discussion, but the fact is we're having this because you are here.
Sure.
So,
But they were pretty good.
so let's, yeah, oh, yeah.
So did you talk to all three of the different companies?
Yeah, everybody was there this morning. We said
Okay.
meeting at 8 o'clock this morning.
Because it seemed like,
They're all connected.
okay,
They're all connected, you know, so that, you know,
just different names of the company, because it seemed like,
yeah,
I mean, out of my dad's yesterday, when I ran out there, it was a different, it was the MP, I
they're
think.
all under the MP umbrella. It's MP next level, and there's a vantage point. It's
Different
the-
colored
Yeah.
vehicles than what was there when they were doing the
Yeah.
actual drilling or putting the line in.
That I can't.
Because they were all red
Yeah,
yesterday, and they had a guy running a cat, I guess, with the blade down, going backwards, next to the side of the
he's
road.
back
over,
dragging it, trying to
Right,
work
back
that
dragging
in,
it.
trying to work that in, so,
Now from, Hanson's Bridge that you guys replaced all the way back.
yeah.
And I hadn't seen him do that before. Maybe that's the final thing that
That
they do.
is, that's what
Okay.
they're doing. They're trying to touch up that area where they just plowed and put the cable in, so. So that's kind of where, you know, I've stood my ground, said this is what we need. The contractor just said, well, I'm not eating all that. I said, well, you're not the permit holder, they are. And that's Western Iowa Networks.
Yep.
And so they're the ones that are responsible for it, kind of like where you have the municipal utilities, so I mean, I don't know, you
Yeah,
know.
I'm sure they had that figured into their bid. Well, I mean, when they submitted a bid to the state of Iowa, right? You would guess there'd been some sort of contingency.
I don't know.
Would be, I mean, that's up to them. If they didn't, it's their
It
bad.
doesn't really make any difference.
Right,
I mean,
not
the
to
point
us.
is, the point is that if you're tearing up roadways, that it goes above and beyond normal usage and we have a cost incurred, we would expect you to pay for it. And that was made very clear when we had our initial pre-con. And they're only about 30% done,
Ooh. Ouch. Oh, ouch.
so
Well, maybe they'll be more
multiply that
careful going
times
forward.
Three.
Three, and you get,
Exactly.
got a big number. That's why we had the conversation now.
Yeah.
So I'm not letting this go till the end. We're starting to accumulate some things. There's some concerns. We need to hit it.
Maybe
talk
they'll-
about it.
And that could be a large bill for us if we.
Yeah, yeah.
Recoup.
So it wouldn't be out of the question for some text board to come over here and meet with you guys and talk about it.
and unfortunately, I'm guessing that if we run into a drier spell, it wouldn't be as noticeable as we move through the summer
It'll probably get better.
and it'll get better.
Yeah.
I mean, you take that fresh.
And we're gonna try to move it out.
and Throw moisture in it right away, and you got a mess.
Yeah. But
It just keeps coming. It just keeps.
If you
Yeah.
brought some dirt, that rock up from deep.
yeah, it's the method. And, you know, that would be the next step is just to say, okay, if you want the permit and you want to continue, you have to get a different operation because this just isn't working.
It is.
And that's kinda
Not a
where-
vibratory.
It
plow.
is, but it's just on a
Still
big-
leaving that mess, huh?
It's on a big dozer. Yeah, I mean, Craig, you've seen them out there, yeah. So ever since that thing set foot in the county, it's been a problem.
Yeah, but I know everybody that's going past their place is like,
They're happy to
they're
see it.
happy.
Oh, sure.
I know,
Yep,
and
so
I get that. So it's kind of a fine line where you balance the, you know.
but you were up front with them at the pre-construction meetings and
Yep.
said, hey, any damages to our roadway will be assessed.
Because they're getting clients, that's also a revenue for them that they'll have in additional years that they could use to offset any additional costs that they have right now.
Well, and my argument is you can't destroy something to provide something. You have to be accountable and, you know.
Correct.
And, I mean, we had the wind turbines, we had a lot of pavement damage that they had to pay for.
They
You know,
do.
And they paid for it.
They did.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is they are only about 30% done, so maybe they can adjust the way that they're doing things to, not create such a
That's
problem.
why we met this
There
morning.
we go. So
We're
I'm
hoping
picking up what you're putting down. Thank you
So,
for,
yeah.
Good thing to be on top of.
So, overside loaded issues, it's over with, so thank goodness. That is over with. For now.
I get to see you, she had made the Iowa DOT Facebook page, so.
Yeah. I heard that
Oh,
too.
really?
So,
Yeah.
but,
I saw that.
I didn't.
yeah.
I remember.
And then the UP Railroad is gonna start working on crossings at Nelson Park Road and moving east to Vale in the next couple of weeks. So some of those crossings will be closed for 4 to 8 hours at a time. So
What do they do when they?
they're raising, retucking and doing some new asphalt. Like I said, well, that'd be great. People love that close crossings. Need some attention. He said, well, they're only doing one track, so. It's like, okay.
Really?
What about the rest of it? So it'll be halfway.
You're gonna
done.
have it closed, why not do the whole
Not to
thing?
do it all. I don't know, but anyhow, it's an
I guess that's
FYI,
because it
if
makes
you hear
sense.
some people,
Right.
and they're working like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then they're gonna take 7 days off and then come back, so there could be crossings closed over the weekend, and then, you know, they're to put up traffic control immediately in the immediate vicinity of the work, and then they have to go to the nearest intersection to put up a road post sign, so the semi doesn't get up there and try to figure out, now what do I do? So that's the required, you know, manual on traffic control devices, traffic control. And then they have to contact the center. They're supposed to contact us too. And they on a kind of a daily basis, let us know where they're at, what they're doing. So,
Sounds good.
and that's all I have. So if, anybody gets a chance or wants to take a look there. Of course, the show might be over by the time you guys get done. So, anyhow.
Thanks, Paul.
Not if we work this right,
Okay.
it won't.
All right, we are down to discuss and take action on putting a zoning administrator. Seth had called that, you know, he'd been doing that temporarily. And, he just feels that at this time, he would like to concentrate on the, assessor's position and, keep working on that. So he called and said that he would like us to appoint some other
So who
department.
did it? Did Dwayne
The way
do
he did
it
it,
before?
yeah. He just feels
Did
that
did we pay him an additional fee to do
Yes.
that?
we did,
Yes.
well,
Same as what we're paying, so.
$5,000.
So we're gonna take $5,000 away from Seth's salary then?
Well, that.
It would come out of a different department, zoning department.
Zoning department will just, take it.
You just won't
they'll
get it
prorate
anymore. So who's gonna do it?
Well, that's why we have this.
I thought maybe you had talked about it in there.
Auditors against.
Those auditors an option.
Are we required to have a zoning administrator?
Yes.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that he realizes that takes away from, you know, what they do and, you know, with him getting the 5,000. And
Anybody
his
else in the
girl,
office been
I mean,
having?
would Maddie be something she'd be interested
we
in doing?
we
or-
could ask, the situation, you know, with that would be, you know, when they're out, then somebody else would be doing that or saying, so I don't know how we did it in the past, but he just is saying he would just assume they concentrate on the job of being an assessor.
To me,
Is
the
that-
natural fit is in the assessor's office.
I agree.
Yeah, I know in some counties, someone in the engineer's office does it,
We had talked about that when we appointed him.
different things like that. I know yeah. I went kind of searching in some of the base camp stuff back when you appointed him in January or whenever it was.
We're talking about it.
And
Yep.
that was one thing we found.
Well,
So something like the,
Like-
Ben's type
Yeah.
position or the
Probably.
people that are in the office also?
I guess the question would be,
That would
that
be-
comes to my mind,
Go ahead, sorry.
would be that could it be to the actual office so that one person isn't getting the $5,000, but yet expecting your staff to help fill in if you're at lunch or whatever, rather than saying, oh, he's not here, you'll need to come back later, he's on vacation, you need to come back later. Can the zoning give that to the,
But you know, you got your zoning.
What's the role of the zoning administrator?
Administrator is basically, it helps,
Point of contact.
he's the point of contact and he does the functioning and what the zoning board brings on.
Amazing, isn't it?
Oh, did you have that with you?
Yes, I
Look
did.
at you rock this party. It's an actual, I think it's an individual duty, not necessarily.
Kind of like a weed commissioner.
yeah, but. That's what it's about, and I said to get it on the agenda so we can discuss it, figure out what our options are. And he was just doing it, temporarily, kind of like acting until he, whatever his position would be. So I appreciate him coming forward and. So what would be the,
Then he
Where's all that information kept that they basically
did
govern?
not mention that, but I think that's part of this
that
discussion.
at
Do you
the
want me
records
to
office?
Come up and
Yes.
see.
Um,
I don't have him on speed dial, but I can find him.
There's a, when you're saying zone ag, commercial, residential type stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Maps and all that.
Somebody know who the city of Denison, they have their own zoning.
planning and zoning, they have a board, don't they?
They do.
I think we just take care of outside of city limits, don't we?
Right. I'm just thinking probably in some smaller counties, it might be all the same person.
Oh,
I guess if Seth has nobody in his office that wants to take it on, ask Paul and see if like a Ben or a Casey or. I don't know if he has somebody
Yeah, I don't
I
there.
think Ben would probably be your Casey and them. I don't know if that would be in their wheelhouse. I mean, other than they may have knowledge of it, they may be willing to do it, but.
Yeah. Just a few questions, otherwise I don't know if he's in or
I
not.
don't think it requires a college.
I mean,
degree,
cause
but-
he's been appointed since what, January?
January.
So I guess it'd be nice to know it's utilized or used.
Yeah, what has he done since
Right,
then, or
since
what?
January,
Yeah.
what have you
Right.
done?
Well,
As county zoning administrator.
that's why I wanted to get it on the agenda for discussion. Thank
Did
you.
you ask him to come up?
I did.
He was
We
busy.
didn't make.
Well, he hasn't gotten back to me yet. I just assume, if he's in the office.
Busy.
Know his phone dings, if he
He
gets
does
a
his
message, or
job.
if I could call him.
5307, I think is the number in the assessor's office, 263
Like, I
5307.
text him on his cell phone, which is the only way I usually communicate.
Interviewing hours.
Maybe if the phone rings, he'll actually answer it. How's that?
Someone will, potentially,
Eventually.
unless you call the treasurer's office. Used to be using this number anyway, so I'm sure it's still there.
Hey, good
Everybody
morning.
must be out
Can you
busy
step up
voting.
here for just a minute to have some.
They're working our
questions about this
precinct,
zoning
actually,
position?
Cindy and Karen
Oh,
are out
they're
here
working. Okay,
and
thank you very
Bonnie's
much.
in Schleswig. So they're busy,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Makes me almost
Do you
feel
have any
better that he
problem
doesn't see a
finding
text right
volunteers
away.
to work,
That's
or-
got
Yes,
his phone in
we
his
do.
hands.
Are you short?
No, we're not short, but
Had to work hard to find work.
we're, yes, it's a challenge.
Here comes
Need to have a steak dinner.
Mr. Seth.
Thank
No.
you, Seth. We just had a question.
Throwing it out there.
I know.
Yeah, he said.
Marty, so, when you called that, you wanted to concentrate just on the assessor's job, has this been a busy task for you to keep up with, or who would you recommend? Anybody else in your office want to do it possibly?
I don't believe anybody in the office was. It's not necessarily an overly busy task. But there are different things, like right now I'm working on a variance. To put a booster up my Schleswig.
Okay.
But no, I don't.
I mean, does it make sense to have the zoning administrator in the assessor's office? Is that where people, or point of contact would want to go, or?
I asked, our, district at the district meeting, and there was only like 2 other assessors out of the 14 that did zoning in their office.
Okay.
So I wouldn't
So,
say it's
oh, that
necessarily
everybody else
common.
was doing it then, what, was it their own office, was there?
It varied. I mean, I think it varied from the auditor's office to
Engineer.
having just the zoning person, engineer, to one might have said conservation even, not sure.
How would we, what would be the avenue to go to find out who's interested? Would we just table this for today and go and talk, or how, what do you guys think?
Well, we're gonna have to table.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have anybody that said.
Put it out to,
All right. We need to get it on.
We
the
have to have
table.
someone agree to do it.
yeah, talk to Paul if he thought it would fit
Right.
into his.
Well, they just had a few questions on how busy it is and.
We're just trying to place it in the right spot and get the right person.
Okay,
for it.
yep.
How many,
It's your
I mean, you're new at this, and I, just thinking back over the years of working under Dwayne, the zoning administrator, how much time in a year, so we gotta go talk to Paul or say, you know, on average, you know, you spend X amount of. Granted.
Wayne would probably be a better person to ask.
Okay,
I
I just didn't. know
But,
if you
I
knew
guess
just
in the last
off
6
top.
months,
Yeah.
how much time do you think you dedicated towards it?
I mean, yeah,
Hours total.
it's
We're not
not
trying
a-
to put you on the spot.
maybe average, you'd say hour, 2 hours a week, maybe. I don't know if that's even all that accurate.
I mean, that can all change if there's
Absolutely.
a request to rezone a portion of land. I mean, you have to have a zoning commission meeting.
And the city of Denison has zone, so you don't get involved in anything in the city, right?
Correct.
We do.
Yeah, so basically the zoning person, we would, like, if it's not in our office, we would just contact them and have them give us the permits like we do for all the cities and everything. So I
Who's the
guess still,
zoning person for the city of Denison.
Chris Flattery, yeah.
So for 2 hours a week, sure you don't want to keep it?
I know, I
You're
would
doing a
rather,
good job at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would,
Compliments.
I just want to kind of focus more on just getting the office intact with the assessor's
We
office.
appreciate your honesty on that.
Maybe a couple of years down the road, maybe if it's open again, maybe consider it. but-
So do you think it would be a fit for the city of Denison to see if they want to expand and, take care of the whole county? I mean, does anybody think that's a
I mean, that'd be, have somebody out doing our 28E agreement.
Jerry shaking her head?
That's a big no for me,
I would think,
but I don't have a vote,
You
so.
don't, but you.
I was shaking.
I
my
think
head
we need to
no.
just, before we start looking outside of our
I got it.
network, I think we
Yes.
see if Paul's, you know, like, I don't see Ben having trouble.
I mean, would you have a problem, Seth, with someone in your office doing it? Or not? Someone else wanted to?
I don't think either want to, but I would kind of like our office to learn all our tasks before we, add more to it.
Can I, is some of the issue maybe that you get the $5,000 if you're like somebody else actually has to kind of do it, or is that not been an issue?
I guess it's always kind of like building permits, whoever helps the person at the counter just kind of helps them. But if it was a more difficult thing than that, then zoning, we would get Dwayne and he would come talk to them. That's been me.
Is there new things that you guys are doing that you want to focus on the assessor's duties?
Just training and
Because, I mean, you guys, you have had experience and Maddie's been there.
yeah, it's just training, getting a new person hired and everybody trained. I gotta train people on what I was doing, because currently I've been pretty much doing all my stuff, tasks I had before, and now the ones I inherited was the assessors, so. It's just been a lot. I just
Yeah, I
prefer to lighten
appreciate-
it up a little
yeah,
bit.
appreciate
So the
your,
focus will be on the assessors.
wanting to focus on what you do, and so we'll, go forward and talk to some other departments.
I'm with you. I think we got like in-house, not all,
Right.
I
all
agree.
hard no. Maybe we recess.
I don't know that Paul, I think Paul would give Ben the opportunity to, I mean, it's just me.
Do you want me to go talk to him after the meeting and
Probably would.
get his temperature on that and bring it back next week?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I will do that.
As soon as we figure something out, we'll do our
Okay.
best to release.
Appreciate you coming up.
Thanks, Sam, for coming up, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll do it. All right, that was our last agenda item. Do we have any citizens input? Paul, we always ask you first. Yep, you're it. You're good, thank you. We have no one on Zoom, so I assume we have no citizen input. Do we have
I
a,
move we adjourn.
there we go.
Second.
There we go. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting is
Nay.
adjourned. All right,
What?
you may
You
stay
don't-
all day. It is definitely.
Is anybody-
I did that for him.
How's Greg Miller?